Hi.
Howdy.
I'm trying to work with a tripod here. It's not a tripod. It's an action figure with a cup on it. But yeah, anyways. So, apparently, Cryptic decided to put out a decently sized DevBlog before a Trek Tuesday.
Hooray!
I swear they're spying on me and they've seen the complaints for the last 3 weeks. The actual stats of the Intelligence ships came out. As is typical with most ships, I'm not going to go over every stat, because that's boring. We're going over the ones that everyone likes and wants to listen to. Special abilities, consoles, and bridge officers. I don't care about hull or shields or anything. To start off with this, they're all going to be faster and more agile than non-Intel ships of the same category. So an Intel Escort is going to want to flip itself around when you're not even turning, apparently. They're going to have less hull than non-Intel ships of the same category. So you're going from a glass cannon as an Escort to a paper cannon. A cruiser with slightly less health, you know what that is? That's a science vessel. A science vessel with slightly less health, that's an Escort. An Escort with slightly less health is a shuttle. You fuckers know what you got into when you signed on with those ships. They all have cloaking devices. They all have different cloaking devices. As the Starfleet Intel ships have the standard cloaking device. Probably something akin to the Dreadnought and the Defiant, a standard cloaking device. Whereas the Klingons will have a battle cloak, and the Romulan one will have an enhanced Romulan battle cloak.
Which means that you'll see the Romulans at the start, and then they'll just not be there.
I don't know what enhanced... It probably has better stealth, or you stealth fest. I don't know what cloak... I don't really play my Romulan much. They all will be able to equip dual cannons, so another science ship with a dual cannon, and cruiser with dual cannons.
But no, not dual heavy cannon.
They're starting to be the same. It's probably dual... I don't know. All Intel ships are Tier 6, so include the standard features, scaling hit points, Starship Mastery passive abilities, and Starship traits. They'll have Commander Hybrid Intelligence, Bridge Officer seat, and at least one lower rank Hybrid Intelligence Bridge Officer seat, and they'll all have the Gather Intelligence mechanic, which is all Intel ships are capable of deploying an Intel sensor drone with the Gather Intelligence ability. Once deployed, the sensor drone will scan the target until you disable it or the target is destroyed. So, sensor scan, kind of. The target of your Gather Intelligence ability will periodically receive a penetrating scan debuff that will stack. Once enough penetrating scans have stacked, your target will become vulnerable for a short time. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
While the target is vulnerable, Intel ships can use one of 3 expose vulnerability abilities on this target. These powerful abilities find a critical weakness in the target starship and then allow you and your teammates to briefly exploit it. This comes in the form of a crippling debuff or control effect. After the target has been afflicted by an exposed vulnerability effect, the affected foe quickly compensates for its discovered weakness and then becomes immune to penetrating scan debuffs for a short period of time. Fair enough, yeah.
So they took the expose exploit concept to space.
Technically, yeah. There's an exposed vulnerability defense, reduces target's damage resistance and shield hardness, causing the target to suffer significantly more damage while under the effect. Exposed vulnerability defenses also clears all engineering buffs from the target. So engineering team or other engineering buffs. Structural integrity, polarized hull. No, that's a science building. Weapon systems, it decreases accuracy and damage for a short time and wipes all tactical buffs. And then
you were powering up for
strafing run.
Emergency power to weapon, or not, because that's engineering.
Yeah, we'll move on here. We're getting a little
yield, or the other one. Anyway.
Then there's critical systems, which will clear all science and applies a hold effect to the target, rendering them harmless for a short period of time. Helpless, not harmless. Helpless. So it's a hold and stun. Okay. The hybrid bridge officer seats. These seats are defined as being a combination of both profession, tactical, engineering, and science, and specialization, intelligence. As of now, intelligence is the only bridge officer specialization available, and will be explained in far greater detail in a later DevBlog. Hybrid seats can support bridge officers of matching profession whether they have the associated specialization or not. A tactical Intel hybrid seat, for example, can accept an existing tactical officer, and support his or her full range of ability. However, these are not the only seats which additionally support Intelligence Bridge Officer abilities. Or these are the only ones that do the hybrid one. If a tactical intelligence bridge officer is seated in a non-hybrid tactical seat, they will not be able to activate any intelligence abilities they may possess. So if you have like a commander intelligence ability, you can probably put them in a lieutenant commander slot, because then they'll only use their tactical up to that point.
Right.
That's a good thing, that they're not completely useless if you already have someone in that. Existing universal seats refer to a profession-only. Abilities which come from a specialization will not be available to an officer seated in a universal seat. Understandable. And then the stats are going to scale. So we're moving on to the Escort. Bunch of hull, modifier, 150... Jesus. Just 150 crew. That's tiny.
That's that's smaller than the Razian Corvette.
Yeah.
Corvette's got 250, I think.
So it's got an Ensign Universal, Lieutenant Science / Intelligence, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, and a Commander Tactical Intelligence. So that's a total of 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. So 13 bridge officer powers. Okay. The consoles for the Escort are 5 tactical, 3 engineering, 2 science. Typical things: can load dual cannons, cloaking device. They have a phaser lance, which we'll get to at the bottom. Active sensor arrays, gather intelligence, and all those things we just talked about. Special abilities package for the Escort are precise weapon systems, tactical maneuvering, enhanced weapon systems, devastating weaponry, and then reciprocity start, which is the starship trait. So they basically, as you level them up and you get more mastery with them, you get bonus accuracy, bonus defense, bonus weapon damage, bonus crit chance, and then the reciprocity, which is an absolute trait, which I read earlier gives us slightly special ability. The heavy phaser lance, devastating weapons capable of delivering a deadly blast of directed energy at the target that bypasses a portion of the target's shields. Additionally, when using the lance on the target that has been made vulnerable by the Phantom's active sensor arrays, causes the weapon to deal significantly more damage and completely bypasses their shields. So it's one of those things you want to time to use, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, you hit it with the vulnerability, it becomes vulnerable, and then you pound the phaser lance in there. Reciprocity is, after achieving Tier 5, you will unlock the Reciprocity Starship trait. While this trait is slotted, and an enemy misses you in combat, you have all your tactical and intelligence bridge officer ability recharge times reduced slightly. This reduction can happen every few seconds. It cannot reduce an ability's recharge time below its group cooldown, which is a shared cooldown.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So next is the cruiser.
Yay.
Yay. Remember.
It's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
4 nacelles.
Yeah. But, anyways, a lot of hull, 350 crew for a cruiser.
That is... okay, whatever.
Again, Ensign Universal, Lieutenant Science / Intelligence, Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, 3 Tactical, 5 Engineering, 2 Science.
Wait, so I have only one... No,
yeah,
Commander Intelligence, you just didn't say it.
Oh, yeah, Commander Engineering / Intelligence, because they're in a slightly different order. But yeah, so...
Okay. So I've got Engineering and Science.
Consoles, again, 3 Tactical, Engineering, 2 Science. 10 degrees per second, that's pretty good. But rather than have all 5 to all subsystems, it's 10 weapons, 10 engines.
Okay.
Yeah. Structural Integrity Field Siphon is the console that comes with it.
Ooh.
As it levels up, it'll get physical and kinetic damage resistance, crit severity, energy and radiation damage resistance, and then just maximum hit point boost. And then have something called Battle Ready, which is the Starship trait. Cruiser communications arrays will be strategic maneuvering and weapon systems efficiency, so it's way more offensive with a little bit of tankiness to it. The Structural Integrity Field Siphon. Devastating device, obviously, they're always devastating devices. Drains the structural integrity field of nearby enemy starships and overloads your own. It only causes significant hull damage to the affected foe, but also provides your starship with additional hull strength. Can only be equipped on the Eclipse Intel cruiser and the Fleet Eclipse Intel cruiser, but can be put into any of their console slots. Okay. Maybe you may only equip one of these consoles. Dang!
Seriously, can you imagine 2 of those things?
Seriously, can you imagine like any multiple of my Vesta ones? But after achieving level 5 in your Eclipse Intel cruiser, you will unlock Battle Ready. When this trait is slotted, each time you use an engineering or intelligence bridge officer power, you gain a defense and damage resistance rating buff for a short time. This buff stacks 3 times. So the more engineering or intelligence bridge officer slots you use, the more you can take. I just wonder if it counts your trait, your abilities.
Probably
like
not,
rotate
'cause I'm
shield
not a
for-
buff.
Yeah, I don't know. I always wonder if it would. Anyways, next, science vessel, obviously. That looks weird.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's hollow.
Kind of. I think it does have that little hollow ring like the stupid con ship. Pretty much the same thing. It's got Lieutenant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Science, Commander Science and Intelligence, 1 Lieutenant Tactical Intelligence, and then 1 Ensign Universal. 5 Science, 3 Engineering, 2 Tactical, 10 power to weapons, 10 power to aux, subsystem targeting, obviously, sensor probe swarm, okay. Where's sensor analysis? It does not have sensor analysis.
I think sensor analysis with sensor probes would be kind of broken.
Shh. The traits of it are bonus exotic damage, bonus shield hit points, bonus shield and hull healing, bonus max aux power, and then the starship trait is called Emitter Synergy. We couldn't get something named something cool. The sensor probe swarm. Starships affected by these probes will have their shields weakened and damage significantly reduced. In addition, any cloaked foes affected by probes will be revealed. Oh. These fly around and harass nearby starships. Cool.
As long as it's your enemies.
Well, yeah. I think it's supposed to function like nanoprobe infestation. Emitter Synergy is, while this trait's slotted, each time you use a tactical or intelligence bridge officer ability, you gain a small bonus to both exotic damage and shield healing. I wonder if that's a typo, but okay. We'll go with what it says here.
Yeah.
Which would make sense. It would be more offensive of a science vessel, but yeah. Okay, next, the Klingon Ship.
The Klingon Ship.
Yeah, it's the Klingon Ship.
Yeah. Kib?
Kib Intelligence Battlecruiser, yeah.
Oh god, it's recursive.
Recursive.
QIV Intelligence Battlecruiser. I would not be surprised.
So it is a cruiser. It's got 4 in the front, 4 in the back, 700 crew. That's pretty... Sounds like a big ship. Ensign Universal, where's that thing at? Commander Engineering, so obviously another cruiser. Lieutenant Commander Engineering. The Commander Engineering is also the intelligence officer. 5 Engineering, 3 Tactical, 2 Science, so very akin to the Federation cruiser.
Very akin, because it's also got the Lieutenant Science Intelligence.
Oh yeah, the battle cloaking system. Weapons system Siphon is their console, and it's got all the same things except for advanced firing solutions as its trait. The weapons system Siphon. This reduces the enemy's damage and accuracy to the affected foes and provides your starship with a boost to damage and accuracy per enemy hit. So it's like the Plasmonic Leech, except for damage and accuracy instead of power levels. Sound about right? Yeah. And the advanced firing solutions, the starship trait, while it's slotted each time a cannon weapon is fired, your starship will gain a small amount of bonus turn rate and accuracy for a short time. This stacks 10 times. Ooh. Ooh. That's really cool. To the Romulan, the Fate. I'm calling it Fate. Intelligence Warbird. It's got 100 crew, so tiny. Commander Tactical, okay, and
Commander Tactical and
yeah, and then 1 Lieutenant Intelligence Engineering. Its consoles are 5 Tactical, 3 Science, 2 Engineering. Heavy Plasma Lance is the console, and its trait is Tactical Retreat. The Singularity abilities it will have, because this is 40 base power to all subsystems as it's charging. plasma shockwave, quantum absorption, warp shadows, singularity jump, and singularity overcharge. So for those that use the Romulan ships, you know your singularity ability. The heavy plasma lance. Normally, it will fire a single heavy plasma beam at its target that causes a devastating plasma fire and renders the target susceptible to Intel Ship exposed vulnerability ability. However, if the enemy starship is already in a vulnerable state, the beam completely bypasses the target's shield and is even more devastating. That's cool. That actually looks really cool in that picture.
Yeah, that looks pretty badass.
The Starship trait, gain a large defense and flight speed buff for a short time after being knocked below 25% hull. You also become untargetable for 2 seconds and have all enemy threat reduced to 0. Oh, okay, so you fade.
And run.
Fade, well yeah. Fade, fate. Tactical retreat can be triggered once every 60 seconds. So that's all of the... Oh, then there's a Q&A. Yeah, this is like... I don't think players actually ask these questions. I think that the devs came up with these questions. And they're just... Yeah. Will the fleet variants of the Intel ships be available at launch? After. They will be available after. Anyway, so quickly, what do you think?
They're tiny ships, but they look pretty powerful and pretty interesting.
I'm waiting to see what the actual, like, normal non-intelligent ships are that are tier 6. Like an actual tier 6 cruiser. Or a tier ship science vessel.
I really like the way they look, though.
The intelligent ships? Yeah. But they come in that $130 box.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not okay with that.
Well, if we had the money.
Yeah, and if we have a way to get them other than that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be intelligent ships later that are going to be easier to get. They're probably going to be ones that come out of the box and the low buy. I mean, they're not going to completely hold these things. They're offering it now to get it because it says availability C-store.
Yeah, mostly I just really want that skin.
Yeah, well, yeah. But anyways,
I want to put those nacelles on all my ships. Anyway,
chat with you later.
bye.
Bye.